Back on Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta. We're going to talk about Dan Snyder and the mess that he is in here. But first, want to tell you about our friends over at Athletic Greens. Now, I'm familiar with this product. I mean, this is one of those cool things that, look, everybody's trying to figure out a way to get healthy, right? And the other thing, too, is that people are looking for things like gut health and things like that, right? To put the microbodies in and do all this stuff and blah, 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 right? I mean, look, we're all trying to get that way out there. Athletic Greens is a really cool product. So basically, this is very simple. Athletic Greens comes in these packets. You put a scoop in and you get all kinds of nutritional value out of it. So if you're trying to get yourself into a point where you can have 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, super sourced foods, probiotics, adaptogens, all those things that you're trying to get to optimize health and especially gut health, right? Because I mean, if we're trying to lose belly fat and all those kinds of things, you have to try to optimize your gut health, right? And we're always talking about hearing words like probiotics and all of these different things out there. So this is really simple. You got the packs, you do a scoop every morning, and you get all of the nutritional value that you need through your day for your nervous system, your immune system, everything like that. And look, you can do this thing in all sorts of ways. You know, you want to just mix it with water and drink it straight up. You want to put some other things in it. You can do it in all sorts of different ways. And it comes in these easy to use packets that every day you just grab a pack, go do your thing, and you load up on the things that are going to help you with gut health out there. So right now is the time when you want to try to, we've been talking about, the Built bars and all this kind of stuff out there, but this is the time when you want to get yourself in shape and healthy. Get into springtime, you're getting into summertime, you need that gut health to help clean yourself and detox yourself out. So right now, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs on your first purchase. So I want you to go to athleticgreens.com, athleticgreens.com/NBA network, athleticgreens.com/NBA network. And if you go there, you can get yourself on your first purchase 5 additional travel packs plus a year's supply of immune supporting vitamin D. And if you know about vitamin D, you know how healthy it is. We talk about getting out in the sun and getting that natural vitamin D going. So these are all things that try to help you out: immune system, gut health, all these kinds of things. athleticgreens.com/NBA network. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, so one of the things that happened yesterday in the NFL was that we got word about an investigation that was done, and I was going to read you this. So in a press release yesterday, Representative Carolyn B. Maloney, who is the chairwoman of the Committee on Oversight and Reform, and Representative, and I apologize if I pronounced this wrong, Representative Raja Krishnamurti, who is the chairman of the Subcommittee on Economic and Consumer Policy. They sent a letter to the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, saying that they had unearthed some things in their investigation into Daniel Snyder and the practices of the Washington Commanders football team. So these two committees are looking at the allegations of the sexual, harassment environment, the toxic masculinity, all these things that were going on behind the scenes. But they uncovered what they believe is, through emails, documents, things like that, where the Commanders intentionally withheld millions of dollars in refundable deposits owed to fans, and they concealed revenues that were owed to the NFL as part of the league's revenue sharing agreement. Let me read that again real quick. Millions of dollars withheld in refundable deposits owed to fans, and concealed revenues that were owed to the NFL as part of the league's revenue sharing agreement. So they're reaching out and saying, hey, FTC, we need you to look at all this, okay? Now, I'm going to harken back a few years ago to when the Houston Astros were accused of cheating and the investigation come out. And then it was, okay, we have evidence now that they're stealing signs and all this, that, and the other, and they're banging trash cans and all that kind of stuff. The mantra that people gave me, and I had all kinds of arguments about this, was, Chuckery, you don't understand. Only the Astros cheated. Nope, nobody else cheated. This was just the Astros. Well, we found out that wasn't true. We found out the Red Sox, Yankees, there were teams that were cheating. And I said at the time, everybody cheats. Am I surprised that the Astros were cheating? No, everybody cheats. And we found out that that's true. Everybody in some form is cheating and doing kinds of crazy things out there. Okay. So with the Daniel Snyder thing, are you going to tell me that Daniel Snyder is the only owner that's out there that's doing these kinds of practices? So remember about revenue sharing in the NFL. Who does the NFL and the teams have to revenue share with? Let's think about that. Oh yeah, the players. Right. That's right. They report the revenue. They share in the revenue, whatever the percentage is. What is it, 48% now? I think is what the players share in the revenue with the owners and all that kind of stuff. So you think Daniel Snyder is unique in hiding money from the NFL and not disclosing revenue that should be shared and holding back money that could be refunded to ticket holders for whatever reason? You know, some of it was they raised prices and this, that, and the other. I was reading a little bit of the details and stuff like that. I want to make sure that we are crystal clear on this and that my words don't get mixed up. If you think Daniel Snyder is the only owner in the NFL who's doing these kinds of practices, I'm not talking about the sexual harassment environment. I'm not talking about, which, by the way, you notice the NFL is under FBI investigation for the same thing. But yeah, okay, anyway, funny how like things come from the top, right? Because the commissioner and all that works for who? Let's think about that for a second. That's right. He works for the owners. That's right. He's appointed by the owners, and shocking that the same environment that a team would have, the owners would, you know, the league would have. Okay, anyway, so back to what I'm talking about. If you think Daniel Snyder is the only guy, I'll make sure I'm saying this clearly, is the only guy hiding revenue, cheating their customers, you're crazy. My owner would never do that. My owner would, my owner in my town is above board. He's a good guy. See how much money he gives to charity and all that kind of stuff? Cool. They're in the football business. Biz-naz. We saw a story about the Washington Nationals, right? The Lerner family that's owned them since 2006 is now exploring the idea of selling the Washington Nationals, right? They bought them for $450 million in 2006. Guess how much they're valued right now? $2 billion. And they're exploring the idea of trying to sell. And let's see, what is it called when you buy something and then you sell it for a much higher price? What is the difference in that money called? Let's see. It starts with a P and it has 6 letters. Oh, yeah, profit. Okay. So if you think that these billionaires are in the business of doing anything in their practice that loses them money, even at the behest of the fans, the league, the players, whatever. I'm not telling you that the owners are evil or anything like that. But I promise you that if you really wanted to get your little white glove out and you wanted to start wiping all of the dust and the dirt off the books of all of these guys, you would find every team in the league has got revenue that they're hiding. There's money that could be refunded that they don't refund and all these kinds of things. I'm not mad at Daniel Snyder for doing that. I expect this out of the owners. You know, like remember in Casino, the movie Casino, where they talk about how the bosses just expected that they're going to skim off there, right? That they're getting skimmed on their skim. And that there'd be a percentage of money, I should say, that the guys would just pocket and take out of the skim that the mafia guys were having. Okay, it's the same thing here. Of course, there's going to be revenue that's not reported that probably should be, and we're going to put it in a different bucket over here, and we're going to call it something else over here, and we're going to not pretend that it's here, and then there's going to be some accounting error or whatever. But I guarantee you, if you take that white glove and you start going through the books of all of the NFL owners, all of them. And I'm talking about from Arthur Blank here in town to Jerry Jones to whoever, for God's sakes, Jimmy and Dee Haslam, the Browns owners. Jimmy Haslam was under an FBI investigation for defrauding his customers, and he bankrupted Pilot. Why would he not go out there and defraud the league? He was already doing it to his customers at the business that he owned. That's why the FBI came and investigated him for his shady practices in running the pilot gas stations. You don't think that he's not pulling some kind of shenanigans? And they can duck behind these cloaks and things like that of, oh, well, we didn't know, and we thought this would be allocated for this and that and the other like that. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. So don't believe, don't get sucked into the idea of, man, see, Daniel Snyder's doing things that nobody else is doing. Forget, again, like I said, all of that other stuff, okay? Focus on the money, right? It's always all about the money. Follow the money, as Deep Throat said, in the Watergate scandal. Follow the money. It's always about the money. And if you think that Daniel Snyder is a guy who's the only one out there pulling these kinds of practices, you're crazy. You're crazy. I'll tell you right now, just like the Astros weren't the only one. Oh, no. They're the only ones cheap. No, they weren't. They weren't the only ones stealing signs and doing this and doing that, to the point where Major League Baseball has they're instituting this wrist thing, right? With the computer thing and all that. If it was only the Astros, why is the whole league going to a system that is cutting down, I should say, on curbing the idea of stealing signs, which, by the way, is as old as baseball itself, from a guy out in center field with binoculars reading what the pitch count is and radioing it back in Morse code, back to, the guys in the dugout from the 1910s or what have you. So don't buy any of this stuff that Daniel Snyder, is doing as if he's unique to all of this. You're going to find out that more and more owners, if they really want to dig, and that's where it comes down to, how deep down the rabbit hole do you really want to go with all of this? How much are you willing to jump down in that rabbit hole and see how far it goes down with all the NFL owners? All right. Thanks again for being a part of the show today. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery, going Locked On Sports Atlanta on YouTube. Subscribe, review us, like us there. Follow me at JMCH316 on Twitter, and check us out on Twitter as well at Locked On Sports ATL. We will be back with you tomorrow, hopefully celebrating a Hawks victory. It's Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.